You ever sit back and wonder if you've already met the one you were supposed to keep? Maybe it hits you late at night when the room is quiet, when your phone is in your hand, but you're not really scrolling, you're replaying. Replaying the look in her eyes, the softness in her voice, the way she showed up in ways you didn't notice at the time, and now you can't help but ask yourself, did I let her slip through my fingers? If this is you, you know the ache I'm talking about. It's not just loneliness, it's that sharp memory of how she made you feel, like you were more than your mistakes, like she could see the version of you you're still trying to grow into. And maybe back then you didn't realize how rare that was. Or maybe you noticed but you thought it would always be there. Maybe this feels familiar. You've dated since then, you've met new people, had fun, laughed, filled the space, but deep down, something is always missing, because not every woman carries those rare qualities, the kind that don't just make life exciting, but make life worth building. And maybe, just maybe, you've still got her in your life right now, but you're starting to feel the weight of distraction. You know you've been careless at times, you know you haven't paid enough attention. And part of you is afraid of waking up one day realizing you lost something. Most men spend their whole lives searching for. The truth is, men waste years chasing beauty, chasing games, chasing the thrill of being wanted. But beauty fades, games exhaust you, and the thrill always burns out. What stays, what lasts. The qualities that most men overlook until they're gone. The ones that make a woman irreplaceable. So let me ask you, what if you've already met her? What if she's already crossed your path? Or maybe she's standing right in front of you now and you just don't realize it yet. What are the 10 qualities that separate the ordinary from the unforgettable? The kind of woman you should never let go. Most men don't realize how badly they're misreading this part of life. They think keeping a woman is about luck, timing, or being impressive enough to keep her attention. They believe it's about saying the right words, avoiding mistakes, or playing a perfect role. But that's why they lose women who should have never been let go in the first place. They confuse tactics with truth. They confuse attraction with alignment. And that's the difference between men who stumble through relationships and men who build something that lasts. The reality is simple. Most men never stop to ask themselves why a woman is worth keeping. They focus on how she looks, how she makes them feel in the moment, or whether she makes them feel wanted. But that's shallow. That's surface level thinking. Beauty is everywhere. Chemistry is everywhere. Chemistry is everywhere. Attention is everywhere. But qualities that sustain love, peace, and growth, those are rare. And if you can't recognize them when you see them, you'll throw away gold chasing glitter. This is where calm, masculine authority comes in. Not force, not pressure, not manipulation. Authority means having the clarity to see beyond the short term and the discipline to act on it. It means leading yourself first. And most men don't. They react to women, they shape-shift to please. Or worse, they cling to whoever will stay. But the truth is, a man who doesn't know his own values can't recognize a woman who aligns with them. Here's the first principle most men get wrong. They think being masculine means never needing anyone. They confuse strength with isolation. They confuse independence with avoidance. But true masculine strength isn't about pushing everyone away. It's about choosing carefully who you let close. A man who has real presence doesn't fear attachment. He fears wasting his time on the wrong attachments. He doesn't build walls, he builds standards. And when a woman shows him qualities that are rare, qualities that reflect peace, loyalty, kindness, growth, he doesn't treat them casually. He respects them because he respects himself. The second principle that flips most men upside down is this: leadership is not control. You don't keep a great woman by boxing her in or making her feel small. You don't win by pulling her closer out of fear she'll leave. That's pressure, and pressure suffocates. The 3% of men who get this right understand that real leadership in love comes through presence, not control. You don't force her to stay, you make staying the obvious choice. You create a life, an energy, and a consistency that makes her feel safer by your side than anywhere else. That is what makes a woman lean in and never want to let go. Most men are blind because they think quantity equals value. They think the options on their phone mean abundance. but options aren't the same as depth. Any man can have attention. Few men can have devotion. Attention is cheap. Devotion is earned, and it's not earned through games or fear. It's earned through clarity, consistency, and gratitude. This is the wake-up call. The women you should never let go don't announce themselves. They don't wave flags or give you speeches about how valuable they are. They reveal it in the way they live, in how they stand beside you in your worst moments, not just your best, in how they give without keeping score, in how they believe in you when you're doubting yourself. And if you're too distracted, too shallow, too focused on the temporary, you'll miss it. Think about this. How many men have let go of women who would have built empires with them, only to chase women who drained them? How many men have lost a queen because they couldn't tell the difference between what feels good now and what creates peace for a lifetime? That's what most men get wrong. They don't recognize value until regret teaches them. So let me speak to you straight, like an older brother would. If you find a woman with these qualities, your job isn't to impress her or cling to her. Your job is to become the man who knows how to keep her, not by force, not by games, but by standing firm in who you are. By seeing clearly what you have, by understanding that once-in-a-lifetime qualities require once-in-a-lifetime awareness. Ask yourself, are you seeing clearly, or are you still blinded by surface-level distractions? Are you moving like every man who wastes years chasing, or are you ready to step into the calm authority that separates you from the rest? Because at the end of the day, the real question isn't whether she has these qualities. The real question is whether you'll recognize them in time. The room is darker than you remember it being, just a lamp in the corner, casting a dim glow that stretches shadows across the walls. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, hunched forward, elbows pressed against your knees, phone in hand. The screen lights up your face, but there's nothing new, no text, no call, nothing that makes the silence any less heavy. You're not even really scrolling anymore, you're replaying. Her voice is the first thing that comes back. Soft, steady. The way she used to tell you things you didn't even realize you needed to hear. Not advice, not demands, just words that landed deep, like she knew the man you were fighting to become, even when you didn't. You can almost hear her laugh too. Not loud, not forced, just light enough to make the hardest day feel bearable. You close your eyes, and suddenly you're back there, her sitting across from you at the kitchen table, hair pulled back, no makeup, just wearing your hoodie, because she liked how it smelled. She's sipping coffee, asking about your day, but the thing is, she's not just asking, she's listening, really listening. Every detail, every sigh, every half-finished sentence, and you remember how rare that felt. You shift in your seat because the memory stings. You didn't see it then. You didn't understand how different that was from everyone else. How she gave without keeping score. How she believed without asking for proof. How she stood steady when you were restless. The fridge hums in the background. The clock ticks on the wall. Both sounds feel louder now that you're alone. It's almost like the silence is mocking you, pressing in on you, whispering the one question you can't escape. Why didn't you hold on to her? You run a hand through your hair and sigh. The truth is, you thought it was normal. You thought every woman would care like that. You thought loyalty, patience, kindness were standard. You told yourself you had time, that you could always find someone else who made you feel the way she did. But you were wrong. And that realization cuts deeper than anything, because now you know those qualities don't show up every day. They don't just walk into your life whenever you feel ready. They're rare, they're fragile, and if you don't recognize them when they're in front of you, life has a cruel way of teaching you what you lost. You lean back, staring at the ceiling. The quiet is heavier now and your chest feels tight. You remember the little things, the way she left a hair tie on your nightstand, the way she texted you good luck before meetings, the way she looked at you when you were doubting yourself. You thought those things were small, they weren't, they were everything. And now it's just you, an empty room, an endless scroll, a head full of memories that don't let you sleep. You whisper under your breath, almost like you're afraid of the words, what if she was the one I should have never let go? The question lingers in the air, heavier than the silence, and deep down you already know the answer. Most men don't lose a good woman because they didn't care. They lose her because they were living under illusions, false beliefs that felt safe at the time, but slowly destroyed the connection. These aren't small mistakes. These are mindsets that cost men the very thing they wanted most. And the saddest part, they don't even realize it until she's already gone. The first false belief goes like this: if she loves me, she'll stay no matter what. It's one of the most dangerous lies you can buy into. It tells you her love is infinite, that it has no limits, that no matter how many times you forget her, dismiss her, or take her for granted, she'll always be waiting in the same place. But love doesn't work like that. A woman with patience and loyalty will stay longer than most. She'll give you chances. She'll forgive when you don't deserve it. She'll carry more weight than she should. But at some point, even the most loyal woman realizes she's holding up a bond by herself. And when that moment comes, when she finally decides to put her energy back into herself instead of you, it's not a dramatic exit. It's quiet, almost invisible. She doesn't slam the door, she simply stops waiting for you to open it. The truth is simple. Love isn't a guarantee. It's not a free pass. It's not a contract signed once that lasts forever. Love is conditional on effort, on attention, on presence. The men who lose are the ones who thought they could stop showing up once she said yes. The men who keep her are the ones who understand that the real work begins after she says yes. It's not about chasing her, it's about cherishing her. The second false belief is this: there are plenty of women out there just like her. We live in a world that tells you there's endless choice. Scroll enough profiles, download another app, walk into another bar, someone else is always out there. And yes, there are many women in this world, but qualities don't repeat themselves. Souls don't copy and paste. Think about it. You can find another smile, another set of eyes, another body, but you won't find her way of seeing you when you doubt yourself. You won't find her voice that steadied you in moments of chaos. You won't find her patience when you were at your lowest. That combination is not mass-produced. Telling yourself she's replaceable gives you permission to be careless. It makes you sloppy. You stop treating her like the rare woman she is, because in your mind she's just one of many. But one day when you're sitting across from someone new, you'll feel it. You'll feel the difference. And you'll realize you didn't just lose a girlfriend. You lost the one whose qualities you may never see again in this lifetime. You don't lose a rare woman by accident. You lose her by acting like she was common. The third false belief is subtle but destructive: if she sits strong, she doesn't need me. This is the lie that keeps men small. A lot of men see a woman who is grounded, independent, capable, and they panic. They start asking themselves, where do I fit in? What value do I bring if she doesn't need saving? Instead of rising to meet her, they shrink back. They test her patience. They sabotage the relationship. They mistake her strength for distance, when in reality, her strength is an invitation. She's not saying, I don't need you. She's saying, I want you, not because I can't survive without you, but because I choose to walk beside you. Strength in her is not a threat. It's proof you chose wisely. It means you don't have to carry everything alone. It means you have a partner who can stand in the fire with you, not behind you. But too many men let insecurity twist this. They want to feel needed, so they start to control, to test, to pull away, anything to prove to themselves she still cares. But here's the truth: she doesn't want a rescuer. She wants a man who can hold his ground. Not perfection, not control, just presence. That's what masculinity looks like in practice: not running from her strength, not competing with it, but standing steady enough that her strength feels safe beside yours. Now, when you take a step back, you can see how all three of these lies connect. If you believe she'll stay no matter what, you stop showing up. If you believe she's replaceable, you stop valuing her. If you believe her strength means she doesn't need you, you stop leading with presence. And then what happens? She starts to fade, not because she wanted to, but because you taught her that her qualities weren't safe in your hands. But when you wake up to the truth, everything changes. You realize love isn't endless, it needs fuel. You realize qualities aren't mass-produced, they're rare, and they need to be recognized as rare. You realize her strength isn't a wall, it's a doorway, and it opens wider when you step through with confidence. The men who understand this don't live in fear of losing her, and they don't live in denial either. They live awake. They show up, not perfectly but consistently. They make her feel chosen, not once, but every day. And when a woman feels chosen, when she feels valued, when she feels safe, she gives a kind of loyalty that no game, no distraction, no empty belief could ever match. This is what separates the man who regrets from the man who builds. The man who says, I should have treated her differently, from the man who says, I'm grateful every day I did. The question is, are you willing to let go of the false beliefs that made you careless, so you can finally keep the kind of woman most men spend their whole lives searching for? The 1% headman doesn't panic when he finds a rare woman, he steadies himself. This is what he understands. Her value doesn't diminish his, it amplifies it. While most men try to control or impress, he leads with presence, not pressure. He knows love isn't about possession, it's about alignment. This is how he shows up, with calm certainty, not fear of loss. He doesn't chase or cling because he trusts his own gravity. And in that space, she feels free to give more, not less. The 1% headman keeps her not by holding tighter, but by standing taller. It hits you in a way you can't ignore, like a mirror you didn't ask to look into, suddenly held up to your face. You realize you've been waiting for someone else to prove your value, waiting for her loyalty to make up for your own lack of presence, waiting for the kind of love you weren't even giving yourself. And in that instant, the waiting stops. You see it clearly. She's not the answer to your worth. She's the reflection of it. The qualities you admire in her are the same ones you're meant to awaken in yourself. Her patience calls you to steadiness. Her loyalty calls you to strength. Her kindness calls you to rise into a man who doesn't just hope for love, but creates it. It feels heavy at first, this realization that you've been asleep at the wheel of your own life. But then it feels freeing, because now, for the first time, you know the truth. You don't hold on to a rare woman by clinging to her. You hold on by remembering who you are and never forgetting it again. Think back to what brought you here. Maybe it was confusion, maybe it was regret, maybe it was the quiet ache of knowing you once had something rare and didn't know how to hold it. You came searching for answers, and what you found wasn't just about her, it was about you. The truth is, most men spend their lives chasing illusions, mistaking attention for love, passion for partnership, or beauty for depth. But the woman who embodies these qualities, the patience, the kindness, the strength, the loyalty, the rare mix of fire and grace, she isn't just another option. She is the mirror that reveals what kind of man you are willing to become. The open question from the start wasn't, how do I know if she's the one? The real question was, will I rise enough to deserve the one when she stands in front of me? And you already know the answer. Because a man doesn't cling out of fear, he chooses out of clarity. He doesn't hold her tight to avoid losing. He holds her with respect, knowing that love like this is rare, sacred, and worth protecting. So let it sink in. The way you treat a rare woman is the way you tell the world who you are. And when you find her, remember this truth: you don't keep her by possession, you keep her by presence.